Do you think this old man is just an ordinary pensioner? Nope. He's managed to gain a superpower that allows him to destroy the entire world. Find out how this happened in our review of the film Inuyashiki. This man has a wife, daughter, and son, but his family doesn't love him at all because he's old and poor, and he's constantly scolded at home and at work. One day, on his way home, he sees robbers attacking a passerby, but he cowardly walks away. His daughter Marie notices this and calls her father a weakling. That evening, a red dog comes to Inuyashiki's house, and the man decides to keep it. Feeling ill, he goes to the doctor. There, Inuyashiki learns he has stage 4 cancer and only has a few months to live. Our hero tries to call his family, but no one picks up. Inuyashiki goes out to walk his dog. The man begins to cry bitterly. A sad-looking guy sits on a bench nearby. Suddenly, a bright light appears on the bench, and a powerful explosion is heard. We see some silhouettes and hear strange sounds. It seems they are aliens who have landed on Earth. At dawn, Inuyashiki comes to. His faithful dog rushes to his side. The man notices that he can see clearly even without his glasses and is very surprised. At breakfast, our hero realizes he can't taste his food and greedily drinks tap water. In his room, Inuyashiki notices that his body has become incredibly strong. A strange mechanical device emerges from his hand, and the soup he just ate ends up on the curtains. The man approaches the mirror and sees that the inside of his head is filled with electronic mechanisms. Furthermore, his hands can transform into actual weapons. Only then does Inuyashiki begin to realize that he is not a human, but a robot. Meanwhile, a student named Hiro Shishigami notices that his friend Naoyuki Ando, known as Chako, has been absent from school and goes to visit him. Shishigami demonstrates his new abilities to the boy. He holds out his fingers, making a gun gesture, and points them at a bird flying nearby. Bang! And all that's left is feathers. We realize that Shishigami is the same guy who was sitting on the bench during the park explosion. So he's a robot now, too. Chako is impressed. In the parking lot, Shishigami uses his hand to launch cars and cause them to crash. A young man shows his friend his cyborg body and says he's no longer human, but a superhero. Meanwhile, the Inuyashiki threaten to fire him from his job, and he begs his boss on his knees not to do it. On his way home, the man sees a wounded pigeon. He picks it up, and suddenly some program starts up that heals the poor bird. The dove flies away into the sky, and the Inuyashiki smile happily. He hears voices of help in his head and follows them. A man comes to the hospital and sees a sick boy there. Inuyashiki tries to cure him, just like the pigeon in the street, and it works. The boy opens his eyes, stands up, and removes his oxygen mask. It's a true miracle. Inuyashiki smiles and walks away. Now he feels needed, important, and useful. However, something very bad is happening at the same time. Shishigami and Chako arrive at school. Mari, the Inuyashiki's daughter, is also a student there. Chako is surrounded by a crowd of hooligans who begin threatening him. Shishigami grabs one of them by the arm, nearly breaking his bones. The man falls to his knees and begs for forgiveness. Shishigami points his hand at the bully, making the same gun gesture with his fingers again. At the last moment, Chako stops his friend. During recess, a classmate named Shion runs up to Shishigami and confesses her love to him. He smiles condescendingly and walks away. Shishigami goes to see her father. He and his mother are divorced, and the man now has a new family. However, they all love this guy very much. In the midst of the merriment, the hero again makes his dangerous gesture with his fingers. But looking into his stepsister's terrified eyes, he hesitates. Shishigami is walking down the street. Suddenly, he bursts into someone's house and, with a pistol gesture, kills an unknown man, then his wife. At that very moment, Inuyashiki is using his superpowers to heal people in the hospital. Suddenly, the man hears a cry for help. He rushes to the house where Shishigami is, but doesn't make it in time. He sees a lifeless girl on the floor in the hallway. The man tries to heal her, but it's no longer possible. Inuyashiki enters the room and notices two more bodies, as well as Shishigami himself. The man uses his gun gesture again, sending Inuyashiki flying into the wall. But the man is also a robot, so he quickly comes to his senses. He runs outside and sees Shishigami flying away on a jet engine. The Inuyashiki realize that Shishigami is a robot like him, but they don't know why the boy is committing such crimes. The next day, Choco asks Shishigami why he took the lives of a young family. The boy replies that he has become a god and will use his power as he wishes. Naoyuki is horrified and asks Shishigami never to come to him again. The boy returns home. His mother tells him she has terminal cancer and will soon pass away. Meanwhile, the Inuyashiki returns home to find yet another family quarrel. The son steals money from his mother, and the daughter doesn't want to study, dreaming of becoming a writer. The man again hears only reproaches and insults. At night, Inuyashiki cries bitterly in his room. Suddenly, he remembers Shishigami and decides to stop the villain. The man grabs his beloved dog and activates his jet engine. It flies through the city at incredible speed and lands next to a bench where a tearful Choco is sitting. Inuyashiki tells the boy about what happened to him and Shishigami, assuring him that his friend is actually a good guy, but life has simply made him cruel. Together, they try to find a way to stop him. But first, Inuyashiki must learn to control his superpowers. He tries to use the same finger gesture to break the tin can, but it doesn't work. Meanwhile, the doctor at the reception reports that Shishigami's mother is completely healthy. It seems even our villain can heal people. He and his mother are laughing happily when they are surrounded by the police. The boy is suspected of serious crimes. Shishigami tries to escape, and a fight ensues between him and the police, but he easily defeats them. After starting the jet engine, the boy flies away. Stories about him are shown all over the news. Shishigami is found by Shion, the very girl who confessed her love to him. She invites him into her home and offers to stay with her. During this time, Inuyashiki finally begins to control his power well. But he tires quickly, and because of this, he drinks a lot of water. Suddenly, the water literally pours out of him, like salty soup once did. But why such a reaction? Choco realizes it was water for athletes, and salt was added. Perhaps robots can't stand salty food. That evening, Marie returns home to find her father in the company of her classmate Choco. This surprises her greatly. The girl stops the guy on his way home and demands an explanation, but he runs away. Night falls. Shishigami watches the news. He learns that his mother, unable to bear the accusations against her beloved son, took her own life. The boy weeps bitterly. He reads comments from people cursing him. Shishigami finds one of the most vicious commenters and connects to his computer. Seeing Shishigami on the screen, the man laughs maliciously, until he points that same gun at him. Bang! And red stains appear on the man's sweater. We realize Shishigami can use his powers even through a computer screen. Shishigami connects to the next commentator's computer and does the same thing. And then again, and again, and again. The number of his victims is measured in the dozens. A tired Shishigami greedily drinks tap water, then confesses to Shion that he is the criminal everyone is looking for. He shows her his cyborg body, grabs her, and starts his jet engine. He flies through the city with the screaming girl in his arms, declaring that from now on, the entire world is his enemy. Despite this, Shion begs him not to leave her. Shishigami hugs her and promises to be by her side. That night, Shion goes out for a drink of water. At that moment, police officers burst into her house and open fire. Shishigami tries to shield the girl with his body, then repeatedly uses the same finger gesture. All the police officers fall unconscious. However, Shishigami failed to save Shion. The girl is also lying on the floor, not breathing. The boy is in despair. He flies away. Inuyashiki watches another news report about Shishigami's crimes. He asks his family to stay home and turn off their phones, but as always, they only look at him with disdain. Inuyashiki's daughter, Mari, goes on a field trip with her friends to one of the city's giant skyscrapers. News about Shishigami is broadcast on every screen in the city. Suddenly, the boy himself hacks into the city's computers, and everyone sees his face. He addresses the people and declares that he intends to take the lives of 120 million people. He points a gun at the city's residents. But the people only laugh and don't take these threats seriously, until the first passerby falls to the ground. The second, the third. Panic erupts in the city. Everyone tries to run away from the screens, but they're everywhere. What's more, Shishigami has hacked every mobile phone in the city, and anyone with a phone could instantly become his next victim. Inuyashiki hears millions of voices calling for help. He, too, hacks the city's electronic system and broadcasts a video message from Chaco, asking everyone to get away from their screens and turn off their phones. Many heed his advice. Shishigami is furious. He fires up his jet engine and sends beams of white light across the city, destroying the building. From the skyscraper window, Mari sees the city engulfed in flames. However, this allows Inuyashiki to figure out where the villain is hiding and rushes towards him. The man gestures with his gun, but for the boy, it's a mere trifle. He activates his plasma thrusters, and a mid-air battle ensues between the robots. Inuyashiki nearly crashes into a building, and then Shishigami starts firing his explosive beams at him. Suddenly, Inuyashiki hears a voice calling for help. This is his daughter, Marie. A similar beam struck the skyscraper she was in. Now everything there is in ruins. Inuyashiki races to save Mari, smashing through buildings and even subway trains. He ends up on a skyscraper, but Shishigami is already standing above. The battle continues. Shishigami shoots down a helicopter. Inuyashiki manages to save one pilot, but our main villain reappears. He's used a lot of force and wants to drink some water, but Inuyashiki knocks the bottle out of his hand and throws his own. Filled with salt water, Shishigami grabs it and drinks greedily, then attacks Inuyashiki again. The man even has to fly off planet to avoid the blast beams. Now they fight in outer space. Suddenly, Shishigami becomes ill from the salt water. Inuyashiki takes advantage of this opportunity and fires a beam of fire at the villain, causing an explosion. Inuyashiki returns to Earth to rescue his daughter. He finds her buried under rubble, but she shows no signs of life. Despite this, he attempts to revive her and administers CPR to Mari. Suddenly, the girl opens her eyes and starts coughing. She hugs her father and cries. And then Inuyashiki is thrown back by a powerful blow. It's Shishigami, and he's still alive. The boy makes that same gesture with his fingers. Inuyashiki lunges at the villain, but he's too late. Mari is seriously injured. Hand-to-hand combat ensues between the robots. However, Shishigami is much stronger and literally smashes his opponent into the walls. Mari realizes her father is a robot. Shishigami tries to finish off Inuyashiki. The daughter reaches out to her father, but the villain grabs Mari and throws her from the skyscraper. With the last of his strength, Inuyashiki fires up his jet engine and, mid-flight, pierces Shishigami's metal hull. He then catches his daughter just above the ground and heals her with his superpower. Inuyashiki flies back up to the skyscraper to save those left behind. A week has passed. We learn from the news that Shishigami is no longer alive, and the fragments of his metal body have been scattered throughout the city. Inuyashiki is having breakfast with his family. His daughter has kept his secret. He's about to take a sip of the salty soup, but remembers how that will end and puts the bowl back down. If you enjoyed this review, please subscribe and like it. It's free. This was Movicked with you, and we wish you to stay on the good side.